I love beef ribs, but they take a long time to cook. So Lorena from Tefal is here to show us a very fast way of cooking them.
I love this recipe, Justine, and so happy to be in the kitchen with you again.
I know, it's
very
been
exciting.
a while.
Yes, and pressure cooking, of course, is the best way to cook something like beef ribs because you've got the bone and all the gnarly fat, and it just the flavor that comes out of that is absolutely beautiful, really nice and deep flavor.
Yum. So I feel like we've got a little bit of a Japanese inspiration going on here.
Yes. I lived in Japan a couple of years and I always cook with these ingredients. I just managed to get them into everything I do. So today we're going to marinate these beef ribs in those traditional, beautiful Japanese spices and flavors. So we've got some beautiful miso paste, and of course this is very traditional in Japan. So that's going to go in the marinating bowl. Then we've got some soy sauce.
Okay.
And that's going to, or tamari if you have. I'm just going to leave a little bit to deglaze the pan later.
Sure.
We've got some mirin, that's going in, and some sugar, because actually in Japanese cooking there's always a balance of a little bit of salty, vinegar and sweet. There's always that beautiful balance. So we're going to mix that around, and this is quite a thick paste, and it's going to cover our ribs really nicely.
These are ingredients that I have at home, and having these on standby, you just have to go pick up some ribs, and you can make this any time of the week, even midweek, because we're pressure cooking.
Yes, and this keeps really nicely in the fridge, and it's great to use in marinades, but of course to put in miso soup and things like that. So this looks ready, and we're going to coat the ribs now.
So beef ribs, you can see the butcher has left the bone in. You want to leave it on the bone, and they usually come like this anyway. And you can see there's a beautiful amount of fat and marbling in there. And
gorgeous.
This is what's going to make them so succulent as they slow cook fast. And for those who are a little bit unfamiliar with pressure cooking, why do we love it so much?
Oh, it's so great. Well, usually on conventional stovetop, you've got a lot of evaporation, Justine, and sometimes things tend to dry out a bit, but pressure cooking is so quick, and it keeps all the moisture in there and nothing dries out. So the result you have is really succulent, moist, really flavorsome result, particularly with these cuts of meat. So when you think pressure cooking, think things like, you know, your lamb shanks, ossobucos, these beef ribs, chicken Marylands, all those pieces of meat with, you know, bones and fat come out really lovely, pressure cooked.
So good. Now this needs to marinate. I mean, you could cook it straight away, but it's not as good, right?
2 or 3 hours, but ideally overnight, just to get all of that really beautiful flavor in there.
And you can see after they have been marinating for a while, all of that sticky marinade just really sticks to it.
Perfect, absolutely perfect. So we are going to fry these in batches now. So I'm just going to add a little bit of peanut oil to my very hot pot of the Cook For Me Touch, and that's just on stir fry, really nice hot bowl, and we're going to fry them in batches. So we've got about 6 pieces here, so we're going to do 3 each, and listen to that sizzle. It's a really nice hot bowl. So we're going to get some beautiful caramelization, particularly because we've got that sugar in there, and that's what's going to help reduce the sauce afterwards. That sweetness, it's going to make them sticky and gnarly and just absolutely beautiful.
So good. Lorena, these look fantastic, perfectly caramelized.
Yes, so now all we have to do is deglaze the pan. So we've got some dashi stock that I've made earlier. We've got some traditional Japanese sake and just a little bit of that leftover soy or tamari, if you've got that, just to deglaze the pan. And then we're just going to return these beef ribs to the pan, all 6 of them. We're going to pressure cook it for about 30-35 minutes, and that's going to be gorgeous. And then when we take them out, we're just going to let them keep warm for a little bit.
Lorena, these look so good and they smell even better. I just want to eat them straight away.
They're so delicious, but I'm going to just make a really quick rice to accompany that because the Cook For Me is fantastic for cooking rice and grains. So it is as simple as popping your Japanese rice in there, and that's been rinsed a couple of times to take away the starch, and we're going to cover that with some water. So now all we have to do is press rice, but that was about 600 grams, pressure cooking, and off we go. And this is going to cook the most amazing, fluffy, Japanese-style rice to accompany our beef ribs.
Oh, too easy.
So this is ready. Look at that fluffy, beautiful rice. I'm going to scoop some of that up in this bowl. but our whole kitchen smells like a beautiful Japanese kitchen.
It does, and the rice is cooked perfectly,
Look at
not
that.
too gluggy.
It's not. So that
Just right.
it is important to rinse it out a little bit and just cover it with water, and the Cook For Me does the rest. Now, select a gorgeous piece of rib. Oh my goodness.
You can see it just falls off the bone. I want to show you this. This is the
smell
most
is
important.
gorgeous.
See how that just falls apart? Just using my fingers, that meat is so tender on the inside.
And that's the joy of pressure cooking. It really gives you that beautiful tender result every time. And of course, some gorgeous juice. So we've actually reduced that sauce, and because it's got the sugar in it, it just goes all gorgeous and sugary. And then we can garnish it off with the last little bit of spring onions. And that is just a beautiful, easy, simple meal done really quickly. Have a taste. Tell me what you think.
Oh, I'd love to. This meat is where it's all at.
Yum. Good. No words. That's all she has to say. Try this recipe at home. You're going to love it.